Ah, the Iron Banner. Such a worthwhile and fun PvP event here in the world of Destiny 2, right? Maybe not so much. What's going on, Guardians? My name is the Black Link, and today I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to take a little bit of your time to talk a bit about the Iron Banner, some Pinnacle rewards, and the entire concept of time investment and the reward that you get for that time investment as it stands with this particular event here in Destiny 2. Or, I guess more directly, I want to talk to you about not the Iron Banner, but the Iron Burden, which is, of course, that brand new system that was introduced a banner or two ago where you could take an item, it drops your light by 100, and then you could grind towards some arbitrary rewards like a special triumph, a certain emblem. We now have the heaviest iron emblem, and of course what was supposed to be kind of like the Iron Banner's pinnacle weapon, the curated role of the Wizened Rebuke. And to be perfectly honest with you, Guardians, this is just absolutely not worth your time. Not at all, like not even a little bit. If you're somebody who grinded up those 500 kills while 100 light underneath with the Iron Burden, God bless your soul. You know what? Start off with an F in chat for the time that you wasted getting that thing. Because of course, the curated version of the Wizened Rebuke, I think it's got its role. It's an okay PvE weapon, but ultimately, it just doesn't seem to be something that was worth the overall time invested in getting it. And it's actually way worse if you're attempting to go for that 2,500 kills while 100 under light in the Iron Banner right now. I played a couple games of Iron Banner, even one or two before making this video here, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't. After one or two games, I was like, you know what, that's enough of this. This is done. I'm not going to put myself through grinding up for that Wizened Rebuke. It's not worth it. And there's no way that I am going to push myself through 2,500 kills to get an emblem. Mind you, 2,500 kills while the Iron Burden is active. So while you're 100 light below, in the middle of the revelry where everyone and their mother is throwing skip grenades, it's not worth the investment. You know, I do believe Datto talked a bit about this triumph a little while back, and I would agree with his choice words for the developer who came up with the idea for this triumph. They should be forced to play through the entire thing non-stop. You gotta understand what you did with this. But ultimately, that's kind of a shame, because it is a big challenge. When they first brought up the idea of an Iron Burden, I thought, okay, that's cool. So you're giving yourself a handicap, and basically taking on a larger challenge than normal. Remember, Iron Banner is already a bit of a headache because of the matchmaking. For those who don't know, there is skill-based matchmaking active in Iron Banner. I don't know if you've noticed in your experiences in that playlist, but yeah. The featured Crucible playlist generally does have skill-based matchmaking active. It's only quick play that doesn't seem to have a very heavy skill factor in matchmaking. So yeah, you're going up against the sweatiest of the sweats when you're playing Iron Banner. The better you are, the better your opponents are going to be. And jumping into that with that kind of burden, if you're going to put that kind of handicap, that kind of challenge in front of players, the payoff has to be worth it. And there's several issues with the Iron Banner Pinnacle reward here. And I guess that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. Pinnacle Weapons are the talk of the town right now. We know we have that Luna's Owl and Not Forgotten nerf inbound, and that's a nerf that I'm not really looking forward to. I made my argument on the TWAB video for this week. If you haven't heard it, or haven't heard about these nerfs that are inbound, check out the link in the description box below. I talk in detail about what's happening to Luna's and Not Forgotten. Basically, eventually, we don't know when this patch is happening, they're going to shoot slower, and Magnificent Howl is getting a double tap nerf. Ooh, I'm not a fan of that. You know, I'm not a fan of the big nerf to Pinnacle Weapons because it kind of removes some of the reason for grinding out those Pinnacle Weapons. Not to mention for all the people who put in all that work to go and get their Not Forgotten. I feel really bad about the major nerf that's coming to them. Pinnacle Weapons are supposed to be these kind of separate tier of reward weapons. They're kind of almost equal to exotics in a way, where they provide a lot of power within a specific niche, or they're just really strong weapons overall, but they have a defined path to attaining them. Unlike most exotics, which are just random drops, you have a path that you can do, a quest, a triumph that you can complete to get these pinnacle weapons, and they're usually well worth the wait. Stuff like the 21% Delirium, which is the Gambit Prime pinnacle weapon, is amazing. The Recluse, which is the current PvP weapon, It is amazing. These are things that are worth the investment to get. And the Wizened Rebuke for the Iron Banner just really isn't. And that's kind of sad that, the reward for taking on this Iron Burden, dropping your power by 100, which is a significant handicap in Iron Banner, and then getting 500 enemy kills. The fact that it's just this reworked version of a Destiny 2 Year 1 weapon that only has a passable role, the only really good thing about it is the Demolitionist perk, and that's definitely more of a PvE thing than it is a PvP thing. But really, as a pseudo Pinnacle weapon for the Iron Banner, it just kind of falls flat, and doesn't really fit as an enticing reward for people going through that grind. About the best thing about this curated role is, of course, the Demolitionist perk, which is something that you're going to see more use for in PvE than you will PvP, where in the Crucible, you can get a better rolled Orentil that'll serve you better overall in the PvP environment. This thing just really doesn't stand up to the challenge that it took to get. And I actually think there are several other things Bungie could have done or could still do that would have been a more worthwhile reward for your time invested here. Look, if you're going to make me get those 500 kills in Iron Banner, I want the reward to be something great. And it's also kind of weird that you get the fusion rifle for getting 500 kills, but 2,500 kills only gets you an emblem. There should have been way more than just an emblem tied to that. But anyways, TBL, what could Bungie have done? What would have been worth this grind in the Iron Banner? Well, personally, I've talked a bit about this on stream, but I think this would have been a perfect opportunity for Bungie to engage in a little bit of nostalgia. Imagine that first week that curated Wizened Rebuke showed up, we just wiped that away. Lord Saladin returns to the tower, we've got this Iron Burden sort of thing, but rather than a Wizened Rebuke as the reward, what if, instead, Lord Saladin was offering Saladin's Vigil, the Rise of Iron fusion rifle, touched up, redone with its own special shader just for you here in Destiny 2. Yeah, bringing back a classic from D1 as the Pinnacle Weapon, the reward for grinding out something as crazy as this challenge in Iron Banner. I think that would have been a much better option. Of course, Saladin's Vigil wasn't exactly an Iron Banner weapon in Destiny 1. It was an Archon's Forge weapon that was kind of tied to the Rise of Iron storyline, but I think that would still fit as a decent enough reward here in Destiny 2. I mean, come on, it hits the nostalgia points. It was a fantastic fusion rifle. They could bring it in that exact archetype and it would work just fine in the world of Destiny 2. And then maybe even give it its own special curated role with something like accelerated coils or backup plan. I'm almost remiss to say that the role wouldn't matter. The nostalgia would be enough of a draw to get people going after it. And then after they've completed that challenge, you just add Saladin's Vigil to the random rolled loot pool of the Iron Banner as a post-game drop or something you can get from turning in the engrams. Wouldn't that have been a fantastic incentive to actually get this challenge done? Way more so than just the curated version of the D2 Year 1 fusion rifle that not too many people used. Not to say that it was bad, of course. Wizened Rebuke was actually my favorite fusion rifle in Destiny 2 Year 1. But man, wouldn't it have been great to see something, a classic from Destiny 1 in that slot instead. Now, I know that there are some issues. Bungie, of course, can port things and weapons and armor and stuff from Destiny 1 over to Destiny 2. According to reports, that takes them quite a long time to do to make sure that it works in the world and the environment and engine of Destiny 2. It takes quite a bit of time and resources to get that done. But for a Pinnacle weapon like this, and I do consider this to be a Pinnacle weapon, it's got the challenge of a Pinnacle weapon tied to it. Shoot, it might take longer to get that than it takes to get the Recluse, which is an infinitely more powerful weapon if you ask me. But when it comes to a weapon in a challenge like this, I do believe a bit of prestige is definitely beneficial to getting people to want to grind this thing out. And I think they could even take that a step further. What if Saladin's Vigil or something like that? Or if you want to keep it to Iron Banner weapons, what if something like the Nerwin's Mercy was the reward for completing this Iron Burden challenge? What if that was the reward for getting the 500 kills? And then at like 2,500 kills, what if we went even further back? What if it was something like the Timur's Lash, the original Iron Banner hand cannon? Or shoot, Hakon's Hatchet, the auto rifle. What if that 2,500 kills got you a special rolled Radagast Fury and made it the only rocket launcher in the game with like tripod? Shoot, if you wanted to go even crazier, give it tripod and cluster bombs, or, God forbid, tripod and grenades and horseshoes. Would that not have been a much better reward to grind for than an emblem that admittedly does look pretty cool, but isn't going to make all the time you wasted in Iron Banner getting it feel any better or more worthwhile. Right now, the Iron Banner is an event that I barely play because I don't see any value in it. I think the armor sets look pretty neat, and thankfully it doesn't take too long to get them. You can get pretty lucky just turning in engrams and getting all of the armor sets that you need. But right now, I don't feel a need to invest that time to get the 500 kill and 2500 kill reward for these challenges. It just doesn't feel worth it. And I definitely can't recommend that anybody else put themselves through it. Overall, it's just not a fun challenge, especially right now with the Revelry active. And unfortunately, while Revelry is going to be going away after this coming week, the last Iron Banner before the Season of Opulence starts isn't really going to be much better. You're really going to want to push yourself through 2500 kills while 100 light below in that Iron Banner without even having the benefit of, extra cooldowns on abilities. It's just not a fun challenge, and unfortunately when you have a challenge that's not fun, it's a grind, and it's just a hassle to put yourself through, and the reward isn't really enough to make you want to do it, well, I think you're going to see what Bungie has seen with this whole Iron Burden experiment. People aren't going to do it. Which is why, of course, I think they're taking it away when it comes to the Season of Opulence. And that's kind of sad. I don't really think they need to take this challenge away. I would be perfectly happy to slog through it if only the rewards were worth my time. But as for right now, they certainly aren't, and I would say they're certainly not worth your time either. But alright Guardians, that is all I really wanted to talk about. I just needed to get that off my chest. This mostly came because I was playing a little bit of Iron Banner, and I was like, maybe I'll go ahead and complete that Triumph and get the Wizened Rebuke for, the sake of completion. And after like 2 or 3 games, I was like, I don't want to do this. It's not fun. I'm gonna go play normal PvP and throw grenades and wreck loose people and actually have fun. It's a better use of my time. But alright Guardians, those are my thoughts on the Iron Burden, the Triumph tied to it, the Emblem, the Wizened Rebuke. I don't think it's worth it. What are your thoughts? What could Bungie do to make a challenge like this, assuming the challenge stayed the same? What would be a reward that would actually make you grind for it? What would it take for you to take on the Iron Burden? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, or if you agree, or even disagree, feel free to like or dislike the video. And if you'd like to hear more from me, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff I'm putting out. But alright, that's it for this one, Guardians. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to me rant. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.